Well, welcome back to another show of the Leading the Pack podcast. Now, before I get into the actual show, I'm going to try and talk about the draft as much as I can. There's been way too big of news coming out of Wisconsin. If you know, you know. I'm going to try and talk about the draft as much as possible, but before we get into this, we got an announcement about the show. Who else is running the show? The Leading the Pack podcast. Oh, tell me this just stopped. Nope. Okay, we're still good. We're still going. This is like this is the third time I've tried recording this podcast today. I don't know why it kept on crashing on me, this recording system, the recording program, but whatever. We got an announcement. Why do I keep on saying we? I'm finally on Apple Podcasts, which is huge. Thank God that's finally done. Finally got the approval. So if you do use Apple Podcasts, you can listen to the Leading the Pack podcast right there. You can still continue to listen to this podcast on Spotify. It's not on SoundCloud anymore as much as I want to put it on there. I'll probably get it back on there sometime soon. But Spotify, Apple Podcasts now, Google Podcasts, the video version still on YouTube, still a thing. So yeah, if you want to continue watching that, by the way, if you are watching it on YouTube and you see me continue to turn my head to the right, I got the Leaf game on and they're playing the Habs. It's a big game, mostly because I hate the fucking Habs. Excuse my language. Hope that wasn't too early. It's about a minute 50. Should have done that. Could have scored it a little bit later, but whatever. Hate the Habs. And it's probably a potential playoff matchup, so I'm just keeping my eye on the game. That's why if you see me turning my head to the right, that's why. That's basically why I get distracted. I also get distracted way too easily by things, and the fact the Leafs are playing right now. Of course, I'm turning my head. Like I'm going to be talking and looking at the TV at the same time. I'm just like that. Anyways, I'm going to try and talk about the draft as much as possible. Like, I got all my notes here from a couple weeks ago, so I kind of want to look at what I said, how the teams did. Basically, that's it. I don't really want to go through every pick. I want to go through the biggest ones, and then I'm going to try and talk about it, but in all honesty, as much as I want to try and talk about this draft, come on, guys, can you put that puck in the net? As much as I want to talk about this draft, too many people are talking about it, and I feel like I need to talk about this whole Aaron Rodgers situation. So, let's try and do this. I'm going to try and not want to talk about this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Like, when I was recording this before, I was screaming, and I feel like I'm going to have that same reaction, because this has been, like, as much as I tried, I slept on this a lot. Thank God this whole situation was basically a week ago, so I had time to think about it. I had time to sleep on it, decide how I felt about it, and I think I know how I feel about it now. Let's do this. So, first things first, Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall to the Jags. Hold on. Good save, Cam. Good. Why did I just call him that? Soup. First overall to the Jags. Not that surprising. Knew that was going to be happening. I just hope he doesn't turn into a Bortles. He seems like he can help them over there. Like, he's definitely going to be he's definitely their franchise QB now. He's probably going to be taking the spot of their best QB. But when you had Blake Bortles as basically the best QB in your franchise history before, and then before that, Blaine Gabbert. I'm just hoping that Trevor Lawrence doesn't. Oh my God, Willie! Come on, Will. You had a breakaway. Like I said, I'm trying not to get distracted. Hopefully, it doesn't become like another Blake Bortles or another Blaine Gabbert. I really like watching Trevor Lawrence in college. He's going to be a good player. So basically, just like I said, not to turn Trevor Lawrence into Blake Bortles. Everybody knew he was going to be going first overall. Now, another thing, I'll go through the top 3 for my top, the top 3 that I had here. The New York Jets were up next to the second overall pick. I didn't say that they needed a certain position because we knew that they were going to be taking a QB. It was kind of up in the air with who it was going to be. They go and take Zach Wilson. So basically, what I said is patience with their young QBs. We saw what happened with Sam Darnold. They gave up on him right away. They just traded him this year. We're going to see how that trade works out for Carolina now. Is he going to become a franchise savior in Carolina? Can he get Carolina over the hump? They haven't had the best QB play in the last few years between Cam Newton's injury. Ever since 2015 MVP Cam, they haven't had that stellar QB. Like, Cam, after those years, it's not that he was bad. It's just that he was injured so much that he can never be that 2015 Cam Newton again. So basically, after that, after 2015, after they made that Super Bowl run where they went 15-1, we haven't seen that, a true franchise QB that the Carolina Panthers truly needed. After Cam leaves, they had Kyle Allen. They had it was Kyle Allen, I think it was, and then they had Will Grier. And then they go and sign Teddy Bridgewater, which he was good for them. He wasn't a great game manager. He wasn't Cam Newton. And basically, I think Sam Darnold can be better than not better than Cam Newton. Because 2015 Cam Newton was a different guy. Why am I talking about the Panthers when it was the Jets? Basically, what I'm trying to say is hopefully Sam Darnold can become that franchise savior for the Panthers and show that the Jets that they gave up on too early because they did not show patience in him. They had that second overall pick. I get it. They didn't want to, they wanted a new QB, whatever, because now they're going to have a new coach in the system and it's going to be a different system. Sure, Zach Wilson may fit that system because Robert Saleh came from the 49ers, and basically Zach Wilson, good-looking kid, don't know the kind of arm he has an arm. He's basically Jimmy G, just not Italian, so not as good-looking, and has a better arm. So, you win some, you lose some. But I think that this was a good pick for the Jets. They needed a new QB after trading Sam Darnold. I thought that they could have gone with Justin Fields, who knows. But I think they had more confidence. They showed more Zach Wilson. They had more confidence in him. They wanted to go with him. I don't think that's a bad pick. Speaking of Justin Fields now, he wasn't picked by the 49ers. Again, I knew that the 49ers were going to go for a QB. I didn't think they were going to go for Kyle Pitts. I didn't really think that there was anybody at the 3 spot that they could have used other than a QB. Basically, I just thought that their best bet was to go with a QB because I don't think Jimmy G is the guy. As much as I thought he was going to be the guy after that trade to after the trade for him to get there, I didn't really see that it's not that he didn't show. They were playing great with him. Fantastic. After they got him, they went undefeated for the rest of that season. He comes in the next year injured. And then after that year, they go to the Super Bowl, Jimmy G, but he wasn't a game manager like with some of the top QBs in the league. He wasn't like an Aaron Rodgers, who I'm going to get to later because that situation is really pissing me off. He wasn't like an Aaron Rodgers. He isn't a Tom Brady. Who else is a top QB? He wasn't a Drew Brees. Now we're seeing a Russell Wilson. He's not a top QB in this league. Sure, they could have won that Super Bowl if they managed that game a little bit better. But at the same time, that Super Bowl wouldn't have been won because of Jimmy G. That, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFC Championship game against the Packers, he only threw for 77 yards. It was just the running backs that were carrying the team. And a big part of that is because of the offensive line. Don't forget that. So, getting Trey Lance, I think, is a good pick. And the thing about a QB with looks like Jimmy G, but with a better arm, I thought that was going to be Zach Wilson, to be honest with you. I thought the Jets were going to go with Justin Fields because it was looking like that way for a little while, and then they were showing interest in Zach Wilson. They were predicting him to go second overall, but I still thought Justin Fields would have been that guy. But a QB with looks like Jimmy G, but with a better arm, is still safe because my mom, who was again a San Francisco fan, the first thing she says, and my sister, because she was in the same room as my mom when he got drafted, the first thought that they had when he was drafted was, wow, he's a good-looking kid. So I think I was right there. Nailed that pick. Even though I thought it was going to be Zach Wilson, still QB with looks like Jimmy G, but with a better arm. Kyle Pitts. I don't want to talk about like all the other picks in between because like whatever. Those top 3 picks, they were looking good. The Washington no names, I was kind of off there. Let me just bring up the NFL again because I had it and I lost that website. And then we see like I nailed the pick with the Eagles picking Devontae Parker or Jamar Chase. Then again, I kind of could have said a wide receiver because I named 2 of the top wide receivers in the draft, and they picked one of the 2 wide receivers. Yeah. The Dolphins, I thought that. Oh, that's another one. So I'm going to skip over the Falcons with the 4th overall pick, picking Kyle Pitts. Even though I said they could have used O-line, DB, linebacker, whatever. You had Kyle Pitts there. That was basically what I thought their needs were. But you have Kyle, because they already have Jalen Hurd. So with them picking Kyle Pitts, like he's right there. He's probably the most talented prospect in this draft. So the fact that they picked him, not that surprised. I just thought that they could have used something else. That's about it. So the Panthers. Not the Panthers, the Bengals. Yeah, I think the Bengals bungled on this one. So, I said in the first round with their 5th overall pick, I literally said Penei Sewell, and that's the only option. And then they go and draft Jamar Chase. Which, Jamar Chase, I'm not saying that he's a bad player. For me, saying that Jamar Chase is a bad player has nothing to do with me thinking that it's a bad pick. Has nothing to do with me thinking that Jamar Chase is a bad player. This has everything to do with if you saw the Bengals release photo or like the photo that the photo shoot that the Bengals did for their jersey launch, their new jersey release. You can clearly see the knee that Joe Burrow had, like the scar on Joe Burrow's knee from the ACL surgery. He needed Penei Sewell. And yeah, they drafted a guard in the 2nd round. But in free agency, they didn't really assess the offensive line thing, the problem there. They didn't really go out and get a free agent. They didn't draft guys for, what's his name, for Joe Burrow, so he doesn't have to run and kill himself every game. They picked a guard. They picked, let's see. Oh my God, I hate these ads on the NFL website. They picked Jamar Chase with the 5th overall pick. Then the 2nd pick in the 46th round. Oh my God, 46th round. With the 46th pick in the 2nd round, they chose a guard from Clemson. They chose what's his name, Jackson Carman. It's a pretty good pick. They got a guard for him, but after that, they got another edge, a defensive tackle, and in the 4th round, they got an offensive tackle. That's good. 5th round, they pick a kicker. 6th round, they get a center. But I feel like if there's wasting that 5th round pick on the kicker, when, yeah, you need a kicker, of course, but at the end of the day, I don't know, like, your need isn't in kicking more than it's in the offensive line. I don't know, I don't really like that pick for the sake of Joe Burrow's other ACL. There's nothing wrong with Jamar Chase. I think that he's a great player. It's just that at the end of the day, they still have Tyler Boyd. They have they drafted T. Higgins last year. This year, and they have and then they have Joe Mixon in the backfield. He has weapons. It's not that he needed any more guys. Jamar Chase, I think he could be that number 1 receiver. And then you have T. Higgins as the 2nd receiver, Tyler Boyd as the 3rd. And those are good receivers. Like, those are some really good receivers. But if you have Penei Sewell, you draft them. And the reason why I also hate that they didn't draft them is because I like the pick I liked a Detroit Lions pick by drafting Penei Sewell. A lot of the Detroit Lions picks this year were like, if you listen to their draft interviews, or like any of their interviews, they want to commit like murder. Penei Sewell said he has vicious intent on every snap of the ball. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that name. Their second round pick, he's saying that he has like murderous intent, and their third round pick as well. And then they actually, I'm not gonna lie, I think the Lions had a really good draft too as well, drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown, the brother to Equanimeous St. Brown. That's somebody that I wanted the Packers to draft, to be honest with you, but they got somebody else at the end of the day. But yeah, like, if I'm the Bengals, I feel like the Bengals bungled on that pick. And then speaking of another NFC North team, the Chicago Bears. I think they had a really good really good first round, drafting for the first time in, I don't know if they've drafted anybody else. Like, Chicago Bears quarterback. No, I want to draft history. Draft history, because I don't think they've drafted a black QB for the entire duration that they've played. Drafted players. No, I don't want to see all these players. But yeah, whatever. They drafted a black QB in Justin Fields, and I hate the fact that they did it because I like that pick. Justin Fields at 11th overall, good pick. I'm surprised he fell that far, but if you look at all the teams that were there, they didn't really have needs at QB. Like, so Trevor Lawrence first overall, of course. Then Zach Wilson, he could have been picked there, whatever. They chose somebody else. Trey Lance could have been picked there. Atlanta decided Kyle Pitts. If Kyle Pitts is there, I think he's a better prospect than Justin Fields. I like that pick for Atlanta. Cincinnati just had the first overall pick last year, picked Joe Burrow. Miami, they have Tua. Detroit just traded Matthew Stafford away for Jared Goff. Jared Goff, still a young QB. They don't need a QB. Carolina just traded for Sam Darnold. Denver, they still have faith in Drew Lock. Whatever. Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts. Chicago moves up to pick Justin Fields because New York has their faith in Daniel Jones. And then if you continue to go down this list, I mean, if Justin Fields fell down to 15, I think the Patriots gonna pick him. But the Bears liked him, so they took him at the 11th overall pick. I like that pick for the Bears. I hate that I just said that about the Bears. They finally did something right at QB. He's not going to be playing he's not going to be the starter, probably for sure. I don't think he's going to be the starter. It's going to be Andy Dalton. He's probably going to start. I doubt it's going to be the entire season. I don't have faith in Andy Dalton. If I'm a Bears fan, if I'm a Bears exec, you have Justin Fields. I think you want to get into the playoffs. Give him if Andy Dalton isn't playing that well, I would expect Justin Fields to be put into the starting role about week 7 or 8. I'm going to say that. What else is there? Las Vegas, I think they had a shit pick. Not that I think Alex Leatherwood is a shit player. It's just that at 17, I feel like there was better players that you could have picked there. I don't know. He's not that. I don't know. Like he was drafted as 6.8 on NFL.com. There's nothing wrong with him. I just think that at the 17th overall pick, you had better players that you could have picked there. There's nothing wrong with him. I think that there is just that he was drafted a little too high. Come on, Matthews. Man, these Habs are giving the Leafs a headache today. And then I'm going to talk about who I think won this draft. The Cleveland Browns, I think, won this draft. They grabbed quality players at every position. They got Greg Newsome in the first round. No, that's the Rams. I didn't want the Rams. Where are the Browns? Why is this lagging? Okay. They nabbed Greg Newsome in the first round, which is a great pick. Oh my God, these videos. Grabbing Greg Newsome in the first round, great pick for them. Who else we got over here? Then they grab. Who else is there? Jeremiah Owusu, a linebacker. Yes! Matthews, baby! I didn't even see the goal. I was too busy looking at this, but that's it. Anyways, Greg Newsome Jr. in the first round, 26 overall. Great pick for them. You got, where is he? Jeremiah Owusu. What's the entire name? Owusu Koramoah in the second round. Got a linebacker, which I thought they would have gone with the linebacker in the first round, but honestly, I didn't think that there were many great linebackers in the first round. Maybe Micah Parsons, who was drafted 10th. Where was he drafted? I think it was 12th overall. He was drafted 12th overall by the Cowboys. Now, let's just talk about this real quick. He was drafted 12th overall by the Cowboys. Not that I hate the pick for the Cowboys. It's a good pick. I think Micah Parsons is going to be a good player, but it's not a position that they needed. If anything, they needed a quarterback first and then a linebacker. It's not a bad pick. But then, like, they get a linebacker in the second round, a wide receiver in the third, offensive tackle in the fourth round, which I didn't think they really needed, but it's good depth just in case somebody goes down. What else we got? A defensive tackle in the fourth. Another fourth pair in the fourth round was a defensive tackle. You had 2 fifth-round picks, one of them being a linebacker, the other one a safety, and then picking a wide receiver in the sixth round. That is a good draft. For the Browns. I really like that draft for them. If I'm a Browns fan, I'm really excited for this year. The turnaround that the Browns had from being so incompetent, all of a sudden, most likely to win their division this year. That's a good turnaround. If I'm a Browns fan, why is this thing shaking? Stop shaking. Stop shaking. Good. So if I'm a Browns fan, stop shaking. So if I'm a Browns fan, I'm sorry if that was very annoying. So if I'm a Browns fan, I'm excited going into next year. This team is looking really good, and like they assessed every need that they had basically. So yeah, I like that for the Browns. And now I think we should get to the elephant in the room, because it's already been 22 minutes. I'm probably going to spend 20 minutes on this, maybe more. Let me just get onto their page. The Green Bay Packers. Now, I'll be talking about their draft, of course, but there's more that needs to be talked about with the Packers than just the draft. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that they had a really good draft. Really good draft. If I had to grade them, I'm going to give them an A. I'm going to give them an A-. Why isn't this playing? Oh, I hate this website. If I had to grade the Packers, I'm giving them an A. Sorry, an A-, not an A+. They didn't have the best draft this year. Like, they weren't I still think Cleveland had the best draft. The Packers still had a really good draft. They assessed a lot of needs going into this draft. The NFL.com says that their top needs are cornerback, D-line, O-line, linebacker, and wide receiver. Now, let's get this straight. I think every team's top needs should be O-line right away. Now, let's look at what they drafted. First round, they drafted a cornerback. Actually, you know what? I don't want to talk about this yet because I'll get to it eventually. Aaron Rodgers. So, if you don't know the news with Aaron Rodgers, Thursday, it was draft night. He comes out and says he is not going to return. He has no intentions to return to the Green Bay Packers. Now, I saw this and I was really pissed off. I'm like, why is he not returning? Where did this come from? Like, this came out of nowhere. Basically, I don't know what happened exactly, but it's looking like it was a culmination of a lot of things. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you right now, with everybody. I'm not going to be going easy on this subject. Because here's the thing. I'm choosing the side of the Packers on this one. As much, no, I'm not choosing sides for anyone actually. Because let's get this straight. The only adult in the situation that right now has been Matt LaFleur. But if I have to choose a side, I'm probably going to be choosing the Green Bay Packers. Because let's get this straight. Sure, Aaron Rodgers can be frustrated all he friggin' wants. At the end of the day, he is not above the organization. No player is above an organization. I don't care if it's even the Arizona Coyotes. Nobody is above an organization at all. I don't care. And especially an organization as historic as the Green Bay Packers. We're talking about a top 5, arguably a top 5 sports franchise in North America. Like, name better sports franchises. You have, number 1 is probably the New York Yankees, right? You have the LA Lakers. You can go, like, who's bigger? You have maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers, but there's nobody as historic as the Packers. They've been in it since the beginning. If you think that you're above the Packers, you need a reality check. Now, I love Aaron Rodgers. I love him to death. He's the reason I'm a Packers fan. But at the end of the day, he's not the reason I stayed. Because players leave, and I understand that. I have been a sports fan for as long as I can imagine. The Leafs let Aaron Rodgers. The Leafs let Matt Sundin go. He is my absolute favorite athlete. Since the day I became a Leaf fan, I still have his jersey in my room from when I was 7 years old. He left. He was basically let go by the Leafs. They tried trading him away, and when I learned that they tried trading him away and they let him walk, I was so mad at this team. I did not cheer for them that year. I became a Sidney Crosby fan because of that team. But at the end of the day, if you look at my room, I still bleed blue and white. So no player is above a team, in my opinion. You're playing for that team, you do what you gotta do. If you don't like it, go. Because it's the same thing. I don't care if you're playing for the Arizona Coyotes. I don't care if you're playing for the New York Yankees. No player is above a team. That's how it is. Now let's get something straight. The reason why he wants out is basically because of the GM, Brian Gutekunst. Now, Gut, I thought, had a great draft. He has made some questionable decisions, sure, but he's made decisions for the team. Now, the thing that I saw today is the reason, a big thing for Aaron Rodgers is that he wants more of a say. He's trying to make it sound like he is LeBron James, where LeBron James can basically say whatever he wants in the NBA because he's basically the star boy over there. Now, I have a lot of respect for LeBron James, whatever. I'm not talking shit about him, but he basically gets it his way over there. We don't need people like that in sports. So Aaron Rodgers trying to get his way with the Green Bay Packers, no, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I get it. You want to have a say because you want this. You want to be comfortable in the thing. But hello, let's get something straight. You bought into Matt LaFleur's system. You decided to play his way, and look at what happened. You had your best season yet. No, it's not yet. You had your best season since 2014. This was your best, probably better than 2014. So don't say that this team isn't doing whatever for you. You bought into the system, okay? Now let's get another thing straight with Aaron Rodgers. He's saying that the GM isn't providing him with the weapons. He went on and signed. He went and spent a couple years ago big money on defensive free agents. He got you Devontae Adams, who was a second-round pick. You don't need to draft a wide receiver in the first round to have a fantastic receiver. I got mad with the pick this year because I wanted Elijah Moore. But now that I think about it, I don't know if you saw the NFC Championship game, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, or anybody else is saying that the Green Bay Packers had a shit draft. Let's talk about their draft real quick. They did not have a shit draft. Look at the needs that they had and look at the needs that they assessed. In the first round, I don't know if you remember in the last NFC Championship game, what happened? What was a big reason why they lost? Was it not because of their cornerbacks? Where the only cornerback that was stopping people was Jair Alexander. And then on the other side of Jair Alexander, you had Chandon Sullivan and Kevin King. Kevin King getting burned who knows how many times by Scotty fucking Miller. But you're gonna tell me that the Packers made a bad pick by picking Eric Stokes? It doesn't work that way. Eric Stokes ran a 4.25 at his pro day. Scotty Miller ran a 4.35. Is a 4.35 runner in the 40. You're telling me Eric Stokes wouldn't be able to stop him? Now I'm not saying Eric Stokes is going to be a fantastic. He's not going to be Ed Reed right away. He's not going to be Richard Sherman. He's going to have to develop. But what happens when you need a cornerback to stop a wide receiver in the NFC Championship game? Are you just going to hope that they throw it to Jair Alexander? They're not going to be throwing to Jair. He's locking people down. You need a quality cornerback. Now, yes, they re-signed Kevin King. Okay, but are you that comfortable with having a rookie wide receiver at that side, just throwing him to the wolves, or would you rather let him develop? As much as I wish Kevin King also had a pretty good season. He just had a really bad game, and honestly, I still don't really trust him because I'd rather have two quality cornerbacks. So by saying that Eric Stokes is a bad pick, you didn't watch that first round matchup. You didn't watch that NFC matchup, the NFC Championship game. That was a really bad showing by the cornerbacks other than Jair Alexander. And honestly, I'd rather have Eric Stokes there with Kevin King there, and then Jair on the other side, than just having Kevin King and then Chandon Sullivan. If you saw that game, you don't understand how frustrating it was. And then, in the second round, they go and address his need for protection because O-line is huge. They go and draft Josh Myers as center after losing your all-pro center in free agency. And then speaking of free agency, don't they go and re-sign Aaron Rodgers' best running back? Like, probably his best running back since, I can't remember his name now. But actually, this is probably the best running back he's played with so far. Without a doubt. In my opinion, at least. They go and re-sign Aaron Jones. They draft A.J. Dillon last year. They draft Josh Myers this year. And in the third round, they get him a wide receiver in Amari Rodgers, who fell on their lap at the third round, at 85th overall. He fell to their lap. So by saying that the Packers aren't giving you weapons is a lie, especially if you watched it last year, by saying he doesn't have weapons. And that's saying that he needed a wide receiver in the first round. That's not just a shot at the Packers draft. You're also taking a shot at Aaron Rodgers, saying that he needs weapons. Like, Aaron Rodgers led the league in touchdowns with 48 last year. Almost 50 touchdowns in 16 games. 48 touchdowns. Hey, Google, what's 48 divided by 16?
The answer is 3.
That's 3 touchdowns a game. Okay? 3 touchdowns a game. And then you're telling me that you needed weapons? You had 2 players in top 5 for receiving touchdowns. You had Devontae Adams with 18, and then who led the league in touchdowns, by the way, with 18 touchdowns, and missed 2 games. So, without a doubt, you have the best wide receiver who led the league in touchdowns, and then you had you have a quality tight end who led tight ends in touchdown receptions this year. Who's more of a blocking tight end too, by the way, but still led the league with 11 touchdowns. And then you have MVS, who led the league in 40-plus receptions. Allen Lazard, who is a quality second receiver. And then you have Aaron Jones, who had 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons, had 19 touchdowns a couple years ago. This year he had over 10. And then this year they had Jamal Williams. Which he walked in free agency, but he was a 700-yard running back. He can score touchdowns. You have A.J. Dillon, who's going to be taking over that position for the second running back, but still a running back by committee, basically, who is certainly going to be a 1,000-yard rusher at least in years to come. You have 2 quality running backs. You have the best left tackle in the league, the best wide receiver in the league. They draft your all-pro center's replacement. They draft another tackle, they draft a guard in the 4th round, and then another guard in the 6th round. You have a soon-to-be, in my opinion, all-pro guard in Elton Jenkins, who, I don't know if you guys remember how he played last year. He could play anywhere on the line. So if David Bakhtiari isn't ready for this upcoming season, they could put Elton Jenkins at left tackle for all they care. You could put him at guard. You could put him at center, right tackle, right guard, left guard. You could put it. He can probably mother a child for all we know. And he's complaining that this GM is not providing him with the things that he wanted. Why? Because he let Jay Kumro go a day after you praised him? It doesn't work that way. Jay Kumro could be a good player. You can like him all you want, but the GM felt that they had another player that he was taking up a spot that another player could have had. It doesn't work that way. You can have a say all you want, but at the end of the day, you are a QB. Play QB. You can talk about you wanting a say on this team. There's a reason why there's a coach, a GM, and a QB. Everybody gets a title, okay? You can want to say all you want. You are not above the organization. If the organization trusts Brian Gutekunst to be the GM, respect their decision. If not, if you don't like it, leave for all I care. Because that's another thing. You don't like it, too bad. You can if you don't want to be on this team. As much as I'm gonna hate to see the day that Aaron Rodgers isn't a Packer anymore, and I hope to God the day that it comes, that's because he chooses to retire and not choosing to retire because of a GM that is on your team. I hope that it never comes to the fact that he is forced off of this team, that he's forcing his way out or the team is forcing his way out. I never want to see him force off this team. I want to see him retire as a Packer, watching him win the Super Bowl one more time at least. That's what I want to see. But at the same time, if I'm a Packer, I'm a Packers fan, I want to see players that want to be on this team. Not that there are players that I don't want to be on this team, but I'll play for the paycheck. If you're playing for the Packers, you must want to be a Packer. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, the same way players want to play for the best teams in any other league, for the most historic teams, the same reason why players are choosing to sign with the Leafs. This reason why players choose to sign with Tampa Bay because they have Tom Brady. The same way players choose to sign in New York, you are playing for one of the greatest sports organizations in the world. You must show that respect. If you want to play on this team, I want you on this team. If not, that's fine. There's other players that want that position. Don't be entitled about this. Thank God for Matt LaFleur. I don't know if, after this whole Aaron Rodgers thing happened, and Aaron Rodgers is a test on it, a test on it and a half. He doesn't even talk to his own family because they didn't like the girl. They didn't like the fact that he was with Olivia Munn at the time. And he still doesn't talk to his mother to this day. So he's somebody that's going to be hard to get off of his stance. But at the same time, I love that the GM went there. The president went there. Was it the president? Yeah, the president went there, and Matt LaFleur went there. Matt LaFleur is trying his hardest. He loves Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers loves playing for him. But at the same time, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like playing under Gutekunst. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm looking at this draft. Amari Rodgers was basically sort of mentored by Randall Cobb, because if I'm not mistaken, Amari Rodgers' father was a coach at Kentucky when Cobb was there. So Cobb was basically mentoring him too. I'm hoping that Cobb gives him a good word and Rodgers comes back. Now, do I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to be back? I do feel like he's going to come back. We are months away from the season taking place. It's May now. You have May, June, July, August, September. 5 months for this to be fixed. And I have faith in Matt LaFleur. Every time Matt LaFleur talks, every time I see Matt LaFleur, I feel like he's given me hope ever since he's been a Packer. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. I don't see any reason for him. I don't see him playing anywhere else. How long has that been? Like I said, wow, we are at the 41-minute mark. Like I said, it was going to be 20 minutes. I'm going to be talking about that. Like, I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers leave this team at all. Like, I don't want to see him play for anyone else. I'd be like, and if it does happen that he does leave the Packers, I'm going to be cheering for him to win the Super Bowl. Like, if the Packers aren't in it, I'm going to be cheering for him to win it. But if it does come down to it that the Packers do play them, of course I'm going to be cheering for the Packers. But I love Aaron Rodgers. He's my favorite QB. I think he's the greatest QB of all time, and I never want to see him lose. I never want to see him leave this team until he decides to hang up his cleats. If it does happen, it happens. He didn't want to be here and bring on the Jordan Love era. I don't see that the Jordan Love era is happening. And that's another thing with Jordan Love. That's another thing I forgot to talk about. I like the Jordan Love pick. And here's why. Yes, they needed a lot. There was other need that they needed. They chose a QB. He's not taking your position. If you're afraid of Jordan Love taking your position on this team, you got to realize the thought process of that. That's it. I almost forgot to talk about this. Jordan Love isn't taking Aaron Rodgers' spot yet. Jordan Love will be taking Aaron Rodgers' job when Aaron Rodgers feels like he's done with this game. When he decides to hang up his cleats. Who knows? Is that going to be the end of his contract? Whatever. That's another thing. He wanted a contract extension instead of a restructure. Whatever. But if it is that he feels like Jordan Love, but this is more for like the fans talking about it. If he doesn't like the Jordan Love pick, whoop-de-doo, you don't like the Jordan Love pick. But he's not taking your job. You're Aaron Rodgers and you're afraid of a rookie QB taking your job? He's there to learn from you. That's all it is. He didn't suit up at all last year. Tim Boyle's gone, so now he's the backup. He's a good backup right now. That's all he is. He's the backup. He's the backup until the day that Aaron Rodgers isn't a Packer anymore. Whether it be he doesn't want to be a Packer anymore, or he retires. That's all it is. He's not taking your job. You are a for sure first ballot Hall of Famer, and you're worried about a rookie QB taking your job. If that's the case, I'm sorry, you're Aaron Rodgers. You need to realize how stupid that sounds. It doesn't work that way, that a rookie QB is going to be taking your job. Get that straight. You should not be worried about that. I still like the Jordan Love pick. The best time to pick a QB is when you don't need it. When you don't need one. Have him learn from Aaron Rodgers. The same way they didn't need a QB when they had Brett Favre. Sure, Aaron Rodgers fell to their lap as well. Jordan Love didn't really do that. They traded up for him, but they felt like they wanted a QB so that when Aaron Rodgers does leave and isn't a Packer anymore, they're not in a rush. They're not scrambling to find one. Like, you're 37 years old, 38 years old. You can fall off a cliff anytime soon. That's just basically how it is with sports. That's how age works. You have one more bad injury, what happens? Then they got to go scramble for a QB, and then what? He's just gonna be thrown to the wolves, and what do? You're the Packers. You don't tank. If you're the Packers, you should never have to tank for the first overall pick. You should never have the first overall pick if you're the Packers. Come on, get the puck in. If you're the Packers, you never have the first overall pick, because that means you had the worst season ever. It doesn't work that way. I think they did the right thing by taking Jordan Love in 26 overall last year, having him learn from Aaron Rodgers. I think that this whole situation, and that's another thing, I think this whole situation is blown out of proportion by the media. Because I don't think if I'm not mistaken, nobody's heard actually, like from the team, nobody's actually heard the fact that he wants Gutekunst fired. That's just rumors. I don't know. This whole thing as a Packers fan sucks. Because everybody talks about it and you don't know what's true and you don't want to get this stuff. You don't want to get anything wrong. Anyways, Leafs are playing right now. I want to watch this game. Like I said before, Packers, oh my God. The Leading the Pack pod is now on Apple Podcasts. Check it out there. It's Leading the Pack pod. It's just Leading the Pack. Still on Spotify. Still on Google Podcasts. On YouTube as well. It's the Leading the Pack podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at Bonavoda. Follow my Twitter at Bonavoda_. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at Leading the Pack pod. Don't know what else to say. Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the center next year. Oh my God, excuse me. Mark my words. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all next week. Stay safe, be happy, go Pack, go. That's all.